just like, two standards in our Justice Department now, there's really two standards between what our politicians are mandating upon corporations and what is being mandated upon themselves. And so you're absolutely right. If an auditor came in and said, hey, we cannot validate these numbers because these people won't even let us look at them, I'm telling you, the board of directors would get involved and ensure that company that they oversee opens the books. Because if they don't, that auditor is going to write a report that says, hey, we have to write a qualified opinion here because we can't assess the numbers. And I'm telling you, that sends that company into bankruptcy. You can't have financial statements that you're sending to the SEC that aren't accurate. And that's in essence what we had here with this election. They allowed all of this to happen, and none of this was certifiable. And so, for example, in my book, I talk about millions of ballots that came in across these various states that we don't know where they came from because there's no chain of custody documentation on them, and millions of ballots that we don't know who they came from because they turned off the signature requirements in these states. In Wisconsin, it was virtually turned off altogether. And so all these ballots came in and we can't validate that they're even real. Now, in the corporate world, we'd never accept that, because we'd say, well, you're going to tell me all these revenues came in, but we can't validate them? No, we can't recognize them then. That's the process in the real world that an auditor would take. And so we didn't do that with this audit. Instead, all this garbage came in, and then they used this system that even the Democrats previously have said this system doesn't work. It's broken. And I'm telling you, looking at this from an IT audit perspective, these systems aren't just broken. To me, it appears that they're designed for fraud. They are beyond broken. They have a purpose to the brokenness. And we see that also. I have a whole chapter on just the data and the analysis and how these numbers came in. We see that, so the numbers should constantly grow as new ballots are counted, right? But we saw places where numbers drop, or where numbers drop for Trump and increase for Biden. And none of this makes any sense. All of this should be random. And we see, 145,000 ballots just for Joe Biden. None of this makes sense.